Yeah, well,
Ready to go.
okay. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. If I could just, as usual, ask all the members of the executive just to confirm their names and responsibilities. So we have Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Yeah, Cabinet Member for Business, Enterprise and Job Creation.
Councillor Hobson.
Councillor Jim Hobson, Cabinet Member for Environment and Climate Change.
Councillor Farrell.
Councillor Jo Farrell, Cabinet Member for Adult Social Care and Health.
Councillor Campbell.
Councillor Gillian Campbell, Cabinet Member for Tourism and Culture.
Councillor Taylor.
Ivan Taylor, Cabinet Member for Projects and Partnerships.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Neil Brooks, Councillor Neil Brooks, Cabinet Member for Housing and Welfare Reform.
Thank you. Councillor Kirkland.
Councillor Maria Kirkland, Cabinet Member for Community Cohesion and Leisure.
And Councillor Benson.
Good evening, Councillor Kath Benson, Cabinet Member Schools, Education and Aspiration.
Thank you, everybody. I just remind you to keep your videos on and yourselves muted unless you're speaking. And obviously, if you need to speak, raise your hand or gesticulate in the usual polite manner, please. So if we could move on to agenda item 1, which is declarations of interest. Excuse me. Anybody have any interest to declare? Councillor Kirkland
is indicated.
So I have a prejudicial interest as a non-exec director of Envico.
Okay, thank you. So agenda item 2, council tax 2020-21. Unfortunately, Steve Thompson, Director of Resources, poorly this evening. We send Steve our best regards. And we have the Chief Executive here to Neil Jack, if you would like to say a few words. And then we've got to kind of break up this item, but in relation to 2.4 and 2.5. You're on mute, Neil.
The recommendation to 2.4 and 2.5 relate to the precept from the Police and Crime Commissioner for next year, and the proposal that has come from the Police and Crime Commissioner is a £15 increase on the precept Band D, which will take it to £226.45. That's an increase of 7.1%. And 2.5, the combined authority is also looking at an increase, but that will be to increase the Band D precept to £72.27, which is an increase of 1.99%, and their updates since the council meeting that we had a week ago.
Okay, thank you. Yes, because they were confirmed on the 22nd after the agenda was published. I believe Councillor Kirkland. Oh, already gone.
She's left the meeting. I've taken her out of the meeting. Okay.
Thank you. So we now deal with, in Councillor Kirkland's absence, the number 1A, the recommendation to. So I didn't know whether you wanted to say anything further, Neil, at this point on in relation to 1A, the Envico.
No, as you say, this relates to the particular saving related to cleansing services and the Blackpool Waste Services Limited, which trades as Envico, of £350,000.
Okay, thank you. I'll read this. So we've been asked to resolve 1A, which is to confirm the Executive's recommendation to Council on the 8th of February 2021 to agree the savings of £350,000 identified in Appendix 2 of the General Revenue Budget 2021-22 and cleansing services into Blackpool Waste Services Limited, trading as Envico. Are we happy to resolve to agree that recommendation? Show of hands. Okay, thank you.
If you just pause while I bring Councillor Kirkland back in. And you're ready to go again.
Very good. And then we have the remaining recommendations 1 to 6. Neil, did you want to add anything in particular?
No, just to say what we need to confirm all the recommendations that the executive made in their budget last week, which was to achieve a funding gap of £20 million, which obviously required a variety of different proposals across the whole of the council, including receiving some additional income and being creative in a number of areas to try and deliver efficiencies where possible without hitting services. Our main focus, as you're all aware, has been protecting the vulnerable, protecting services, and also protecting jobs where we possibly could. So our focus has been on those things, and we've been able to do that to a significant degree. We haven't seen any cuts to services to the vulnerable people of the town, and we've been able to keep any job losses to a very much a minimum. And we hope that we don't see any compulsory redundancies if at all possible.
Thank you. Did anybody have any comments or want to ask any questions? Councillor Brooks?
Yes, it's in relation to the precepts for the police authority and the combined fire authority. You mentioned the figure of £15 in the increase at Band D. I mean, given that the majority of our properties are Bands A and B, is that £15 an actual monetary figure for every household, or is it a percentage figure for every household? So that at Band A and B, it will be less than £15. And equally, the combined authority one is 1.99%. Again, you refer to Band D. Is that a percentage figure, or is it a monetary figure?
Those are percentage figures. So it's a 7.1% increase on the precept from the Police and Crime Commissioner and a 1.99 figure for the Fire Authority. The £15 in particular I referred to because that is a limit which the Police and Crime Commissioner can increase their precept up to. So their limits aren't done on a percentage basis as they are for the council, which is 1.99% for all councils and 3% for the adult social care precept. For the Police and Crime Commissioner, there's a cash figure as the maximum, but that's at Band D particularly. So that isn't a limit. That isn't a £15 on all bands. That's £15 calculated at Band D. So it will be a 7.1% increase on the share of the precept at every band. So Band A would be 2/3 of that figure.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Anybody else have any other comments? Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Chair. The question is, you've talked about sort of minimising job losses, and would that be where we have vacant jobs that's not being filled? Is that where we're talking about not in sort of having any losses of staff at the moment, Neil?
There's a number of different ways that we try to minimise any job losses. In a number of service areas, they've held vacancies in anticipation of the need to reduce cost in next year. So they have held vacancies and will remove those posts and disestablish them from the organisation. So that won't lead to a job loss of for anybody who has a job currently. For those areas where there may need to be job losses for service reviews, then in many cases in the past, we've been able to redeploy people into vacancies elsewhere within the council, because obviously there are still vacant posts elsewhere. And we also have had quite a number of voluntary redundancies in the past as well. So we do a lot of work to support people to find alternative opportunities within the council, or to consider whether voluntary redundancy may suit them. So we go through a lot of work to make sure that compulsory redundancies are their last choice. And over the last few years, we haven't had compulsory redundancies. We've been able to manage it through redeployments or through voluntaries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Anybody else got any questions, comments? Thank you. I will move the 6 recommendations. Excuse me. I will read these through because of these being the alterations since they were initially published. So number 1, to confirm the executive's recommendation to council on the 8th of February 2021 to agree to the remaining budget savings of 90.95 million, being 20.3 million minus 350 already approved in decision 1, and would refer to paragraph 7.1 and 7.2 and appendix 2 of the general fund revenue budget papers. Number 2, to having considered all information received since the meeting of the executive on the 8th of February 2021, including the final settlement funding assessment announced on the 4th of February 2021, and to confirm all the other of the executive's recommendations to council regarding the general fund revenue budget 2021-22. Number 3, to recommend to council approval of a level of Blackpool Council's council tax for the year 2021-22 of £1,619.13 at valuation band D, equivalent an increase of 4.99%, including the 3% adult social care precept. Number 4, to recommend to council the level of net expenditure for the general fund revenue budget 2021-22 of 149,062,000. 5, to note that the Police and Crime Commissioner for Lancashire's preset for the financial year 21-22 at valuation band D equivalent was agreed on the 22nd of February 2021 and reported verbally to the executive meeting as £226.45, an increase of 7.09%. And number 6, to note that the Lancashire Combined Fire Authority met on the morning of the 22nd of February 2021 to set its preset for the financial year 21-22. This again was reported verbally at the executive meeting as £72.27 at valuation band D, an increase of 1.99%. Would somebody second, please? Councillor Taylor, thank you. So can I have a show of hands to approve the recommendations?
Chairman, that's carried unanimously. And so all the recommendations have now been approved.
Thank you. And that is the end of business, end of the meeting tonight. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chair.